salvation, and happiness. It's your season. It's your time. God has plans for your life to prosper you and to give you hope and a future. Join us and learn how God's love and power can bring hope and happiness to your life. This is your opportunity for motivation, encouragement, and purpose.
HBCU, stand up. Like Bethune. Hey, go. My HBCU better than yours. 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 Where you from? From the north. Where you from? From the south. Where you from? From the east. Where you from? From the west. My HBCU better than yours. My HBCU better than yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the HBCU Alumni House Party. I'm George Sanders, your special guest host for today. We have an extraordinary show in store for you. Today, we continue with part 2 of our captivating interview with a talented host and creator of the HBCU Alumni House Party, my dear friend, Mr. Anthony Harris Brown. In just a few minutes, we'll pick up right where we left off last week, discussing the talk show and giving you a glimpse of what to expect from future episodes. But before we proceed, let's take a moment to acknowledge our sponsors. We will be right back after this commercial break.
Here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Your family is your legacy. Planning for a natural disaster will make sure you're all safe. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today.
There's nothing better than being inspired and renewed daily by the power of God. In Morning Tea with the King, author Tish Barnhart shares inspiration through a 90-day devotional that will rejuvenate your mind with scripture and your body with daily suggested herbal teas. You'll begin to see that every experience brings about a different perspective on how to view the things that are happening in our lives as we continue on our journey. Available at Amazon, your local bookstore, or at trilogy.tv.
Attention ministry leaders. Have you ever considered growing your ministry with television? Well, the Daily Gospel Network could be what you've been looking for. As one of the nation's largest Christian broadcasting companies, the Daily Gospel Network broadcasts all over the world on popular streaming platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. If you're looking to grow and reach more people, the Daily Gospel Network could be your solution.
At the time, I just wasn't thinking. I used social media to vent. I wish I would have thought about the effects of scaring people. I didn't mean for that to happen. People took it as a terrorist threat. The university got shut down. I got arrested by the FBI. And now, I don't know what my future looks like. I search my name on the web almost every day and look at the stuff. It's not going away. Think before you post.
Come on.
Welcome back to the HBCU Alumni House Party. I'm George Sanders, your special guest host for today. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here for part 2 of our interview with the incredible host of the HBCU Alumni House Party, Mr. Anthony Harris Brown. Our conversation was so engaging last week that we had to continue it. So without further ado, let's extend a warm and enthusiastic welcome to my dear friend, Anthony Harris Brown. You know, Anthony, when we left off last time, we talked about some great topics. You told us about the origin of the HBCU Alumni House Party. We talked about the importance of not only college, but the importance of HBCUs and, what they mean to us and what they mean to our youth and also to us, a good feeling that it gives us. I mean, I love going to the Bayou Classic. I love seeing these events on television, and it just makes me proud that we support each other. We support these wonderful universities and will continue to do so. For those of the listening audience, the folks out there in the listening audience that have not seen the HBCU Alumni House Party, shame on them. I know that. If you tune into the Daily Gospel Network, you can catch them every single week. In fact, you can catch them on the Daily Gospel Network, the Daily Gospel Network International, and the Daily Gospel Network Plus. So do yourself a favor, treat yourself, Don't cheat yourself. Watch this program. I promise you're going to find out things that you didn't know. But for those of the listening audience who have not seen the show, can you tell them what the HBCU Alumni House Party is all about, Anthony?
So again, we are now in season 4 of the show. We are excited to say that we are a virtual talk show talking and engaging with our community about great conversations about historically Black colleges and universities, highlighting alumni, faculty, staff, administration, students, all about some of the best and brightest institutions in the country. And I guarantee you, to any student watching, there's always one with your name on it. So that's what we really do. We just kind of educate our community about these schools and all of the greatness that alumni are doing across the country.
You know what, Anthony? I love that. You know, going to Southern University, which is a historically Black college and university, it was a special thing. I remember being dropped off there the very first day. And one of the things about a person like me, I went to a high school that was mixed, you know, it's 50-50 or whatever the case was. But it was something about going somewhere that it was all of us. And then when I got a chance to be in the classroom setting, I knew, I mean, you could almost feel it. The spirit was there where the instructors, you knew that they were looking out for this little old boy from this little country town in Louisiana. You knew it. Now, it kind of felt like the parental thing, right? When they talk to you, sometimes it was a little harsh. It was like mom and daddy talking to you,
Bruh.
But you know what? It came from a place of love.
It did. Oh my God.
They just wanted to see you do well. If you're going to be here and you're going to take your time to come to this university, be the best that you can be. I can't tell you how many times from different instructors I heard that. Be the best that you can be, George.
And don't waste somebody else's money.
Come on now. Whether it was a student loan. That's right. Somebody paid for this. It was a student loan.
The student
That's right.
loan,
The government. That's right.
Your mom and daddy's second mortgage, a scholarship.
Come on.
Somebody paid for it.
That's right.
I get him. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. And they let you know. So Anthony, as we talk about that, you know, I was talking to one of the talk show hosts on the Daily Gospel Network. She is an instructor at an HBCU, and she says one of the things about HBCUs nowadays, you know, it's not as much us teaching there. You know, there's lots of diversity when it comes to the instructors. You know, of course, I went to Southern University. I'm not going to mention how long ago, but there's diversity in the not only the classroom, but from the instructors. What are your thoughts on that? Does that matter in terms of how the students are getting the education? Does that play a part in anything?
Here's the thing. A lot of people sometimes have this misnomer thinking because you attend a historically Black college university, that it's an all Black college, but it's not. We have been diversified since day one. We have been open to everybody since day one. Whether you want to be a student there, you want to be employed there, we have always been open. We've never discriminated. Racism was never an issue. I remember going to Bethune-Cookman and I had someone who was not African American teaching me Black history. How you gonna tell me about my history and you ain't even Black? Until that man talked about how he marched with King.
Wow. And
that whole civil rights movement and how he was there on the front lines. Being, you know, with the dogs and the water hoses, just fighting for, you know, just the injustices of the world. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. That shook me.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, Anthony, we think that we have to, you know, the label is there. You got to be black or else, you know.
Hold on, real quick. You said label. Now listen,
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
always
label.
talking about labels belong on jars,
Yeah.
not people.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Understand something real quick. The Higher Education Act in 1965 created this label. For whatever reason, Lyndon B. Johnson, the President of the United States, and the United States Congress came up with this ingenious idea. Hey, we got these institutions out here, these Negro schools. Let's create this funding source, or because they saw people like UNCF, thank you, Dr. Miriam McLeod Bethune and Frederick Patterson back in 1944, to start raising money for HBCUs because they said, hey, why don't we get this idea of raising money for our schools because no one else is doing it for us? So they started creating money, a revenue stream, before the government even got involved. The government said, oh, and later on in 1965, they wanted to get their hands in the pot. Let's create the Higher Education Act. But in order to be a part of this particular Higher Education Act, you had to be founded before 1965. You had to educate African Americans, but you couldn't exclude nobody, and you had to be accredited by the government. If you meet those three criteria, then we can call you a historically black college or university. I don't know how you cut that, but that's a label.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for your label, because we lived in it and we made it work for our good. Thank you for all those who've given to HBCUs, especially during Black Lives Matter, the pandemic, and everything else, because you like, I'm going to say, thank you for your mad money. Well, I mean, your glad money. Let me say it like that. Thank you for your glad money. All right. Side note. I just got on a tangent.
Well, you know, Anthony, it is important to give. And a lot of times what you know, when we look at predominantly white universities, that's what helps them thrive, quite frankly. You see the millions of dollars that come in. For us, for HBCUs, do you think it's more of an economic situation? Whereas, you know, in the predominantly white universities, they have bigger boosters, they have more financially affluent contributors and you know, alumni and so on and so forth, whereas, you know, maybe HBCUs don't have as much. Do you think it's more of a economic situation, or do you think it's more of a, I've got my degree, I've paid them my money, and I'll see you when football season rolls around?
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of both. But I want to also go back and say, this is just an Anthonyism. Let me go on my soapbox. I don't feel that we as African Americans have done a very good job of educating our community, our families, of giving back and supporting financially, or even talking about that whole idea of investment, or in investing in something else that's bigger and greater than you. You know, you look at some other institutions of higher learning, and they are supported. I mean, but it's ingrained in them to give back and to support their own. I think, but we come from this culture, this mindset, because we didn't have for so long. And then when we finally get it, it's like everything is mine. But we forget, like, somebody had to help you get there. And now it's your turn to give back and help somebody else, you know, along the way. So I think it works hand in hand. But I think a big part of that is really trying to invest in to kind of educate our community. Again, I talked about it in the previous show. All this kind of started for me because I saw my dad give a donation to UNCF. And I was like, why? He said, because I want to make sure that young people have an opportunity to go to school and be able to do something. And sometimes they can't afford it on their own and need the support. Oh, okay. I want to help too.
Yeah. You know, Anthony, one of the things that young adults should look into, by and large, the HBCUs are less expensive to attend than predominantly white colleges, but provide equal, in some cases, better education.
Mhm.
There's an advantage to attending an HBCU. Anthony, can you talk about some of those advantages? Obviously, you and I are a little biased because we both graduated from them. Can you talk about some of the advantages of attending an HBCU?
Listen, so in many cases, our tuition uh, and fees are many times lower than the institutions in their markets, comparable institutions. Even though sometimes it may vary from the private HBCUs to the public HBCUs, but still overall they provide a significant impact to their communities. First of all, collectively, of all the HBCUs, we provide over $14 billion of economic impact back into our communities. Our tuition and fees is sometimes 26% lower than other institutions in their communities. Our institutions are providing opportunity for students who are maybe sometimes here in 2023 still the first in their families to go to college. So we want to make sure that, but most of those same students most of our HBCUs are probably 70, 80% students are Pell eligible. I mean, they're supported by financial aid because they're coming from homes that just didn't have. And so we want to make sure that we wrap our arms around with those full wraparound services and to be able to really support them holistically, not just the academic side, but helping them with their just social life skills, helping them to be able to relate, connect. We recognize the fact that mental health is real. And many of our students are coming to school with a lot of baggage and trauma. And how do you process that? And now you got the weight of the world because some of our students, like me, the first in your family to go to college, or even the first to graduate from college.
Yeah.
So everybody's looking to you to be the one because you got to go to school, not just for you, but you got to go to school for Big Mama, for your brothers, for your sisters, for your cousin thems, because somebody got to break this cycle.
Yeah. Wow. That's heavy, Anthony. And that's right. And sometimes when I hear, I was listening to LeBron James the other day, and he was talking about his son Bronny being accepted to USC and saying, and this is 2023, right? He's saying that his son is the first person in their family to go to college. That struck me. I literally was awestruck at it. I said, that can't be the case. Well, he kept saying it. The fact that his son was going to college, he was the first one in the James family to attend college. I didn't say graduate, to attend college. That's an amazing thing. Look, Anthony, what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what we can expect for future episodes, what kind of events and really great things that you guys have coming up for the HBCU Alumni House Party. So I want you to stick around. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Looking for inspiration, motivation, and the good news of Jesus Christ? Look no further. The Daily Gospel Network has what you need. With more than 300 ministries from all over the country broadcasting every week, you're sure to get your dose of spirit-filled encouragement from the great programs on the Daily Gospel Network. Catch the Daily Gospel Network on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, all mobile devices, and the internet.
We are back. I'm George Sanders, your stand-in host for today. I'm not the stand-in host. I'm the host, your host of the HBCU Alumni House Party, George Sanders, with your stand-in host, Anthony Harris. Oh, stop. This is getting... I'm going to put that on my resume,
Listen.
in case I'm looking for a job, Anthony.
I'm going to use this reel. Like, I got some footage.
I can show you. I got proof. I'm the host. Nevertheless, we are back. Look, I've had a wonderful look. This is this is so great. We turn into a part 2. I'm having such a great time with my good friend, my dear friend, Anthony Brown. And generally, I call him Anthony Harris Brown. He's got one of those names. You got to say the whole name. Sounds like an actor. Wait a minute. He is an actor. The brother does so many things. He's a talk show host. He's in education. He's supporting HBCUs. He's an actor. I mean, radio host. He does it all. Podcast, the whole 9 yards. And listen, his love for historically Black colleges and universities is, look, I don't know anybody personally that does as much as he does. I'm grateful for him. The community is grateful for him, and these universities are grateful for him. So, Anthony, as we're looking forward to the future, what can we expect for future episodes from the HBCU Alumni House Party?
That's a good question, because, listen, I don't know.
Flying by the seat of your pants, my brother.
Listen, because there are days I love when we get these, Monique and I may get a random phone call or email from an organization saying, hey, we saw your show. We'd love to come on. We are open. I mean, we've had college presidents come on. I remember having Dr. Warwick from Stillman College. I had Dr. Warmack from Claflin University. I've had Dr. Abdullah from Virginia State. We've had, Roy Wood Jr., who comedian, who did the Correspondence White House dinner and Comedy Central. I got him on the show at University. I got some maybe here. We even have students who are on their way to an HBCU, their experience. So you don't know what you get on any given day. Then you may pop up and you may see me on location. I said, I've been on the, whenever I'm near an HBCU, if I can get there, I'm gonna do if I want to do a whole show, I'm gonna at least do a segment. I'm gonna at least open the show or close the show from the campus, from the sign. So, I mean, I've been on the campuses of Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, Spelman, of course, Bethune-Cookman, St. Phillips, Texas Southern, Central State, Wilberforce, Howard. It doesn't matter. I mean, you may turn on and be like, where are you at today?
I love it, brother. I love it. Now, so speaking of that, if a person wanted to be on the show, if they wanted to contribute to the show, how can they get in touch with you, Anthony?
Listen, like I always say in the show, for more about what we do, how we do, when we do, go to my website at aharrisbrown.com to learn more about the HBC Alumni House Party. Or if you would like, because again, as George said, I'm also an educator. I do workshops. I come in, I will travel and do workshops. So I have a whole workshop series called HBCUs Are a Better Way. And so we do workshops. We provide, information and resources for students and families. We talk about I love this one platform or application we use is called the Common Black College Application. One application, it goes to over 60 HBCUs for the low cost of $20. Now think about that, George. When we were going to school, one application might have been $25, $30, up to $50 per application.
Anthony, first of all, we didn't know where to start in a lot of cases with the application. It was, our guidance, I know for me, my guidance counselor just didn't know, particularly, and we've got several historically Black universities in the state of Louisiana. They just didn't know where to start. It was like, look, get your mom and daddy to take you there. Well, what about the kids that don't have mom and daddies that could do that?
We have those resources like that. We also, I've hosted game shows. I have a Black History Jeopardy game show. Wow. I have another game show that I work with another company called the HBCU Trivia Game. So I can do that. I can do that game show either in person or I can do it virtually. That's yeah.
Okay. Wow. So they get to see what I see all the time.
Oh yeah.
I don't audience. I don't know if you're ready. I don't know if you're ready.
So you never know. Or if you're thinking about, like I said, I love to be able to travel whenever my schedule allows. I'm always one to go connect with a company called HBCUHotels.com. They got some of the best discounted rates for homecomings and classics. So I'm always like, hey, Bobby, I want to go here. Anthony, I got you. Let's see what we can find you a good deal. Because, people want to travel and be able to rest well after you done had a good time on the yard.
Mhm. Yeah. That's awesome, Anthony. As we look forward to future episodes, the Daily Gospel Network is ecstatic to have you on, and we're the Daily Gospel Network International and Plus. We're just thrilled to have you on, and looking forward to some new shows and things that you and I are collaborating on in the future that we'll be doing, and this is just really an exciting moment. As we close out today's show, I want to tell you that I'm much appreciative. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate you being on the Daily Gospel Network. I appreciate your counsel on with the Talk Show Academy and Talk Show Masterclass and all of these great things that you contribute to. So I thank you for being a dear friend of mine, and I look forward to many, many endeavors with you down the road. And I'm going to have to come to one of your plays. My wife and I have been talking about that. As I said, the brother is an actor. He's a thespian. He's not just an actor. This brother does it for real. I remember one time I asked him, I said, Anthony, so is this kind of was this like an after school play or something? Like, man, if you don't, that brother had to get me
I was
straight.
doing a one night
man,
only. I'm like, no, man,
I'm an actor, brother. And look, I was fortunate enough to see some of the clips that he posted online. It is the real deal. So he is a true thespian, and my wife and I are going to get to Cleveland one day, and we're going to check out one of these awesome plays that he's in. In fact, you're currently in a
right.
You're currently
at the time of this recording.
Yes, at
the time of this show, in the first run, I am actually at the Beck Center for the Arts doing a wonderful, amazing musical called Once on This Island. It's like a fantasy musical, real family friendly, amazing. Having an amazing time there, but listen, I'm just doing it for the love of it. I mean, I love what I do and I appreciate what I do, but let me shout out to my son real quick, because my son is the actor. Now, he actually went to school for this.
Yeah.
So he just got his master's in fine arts from Yale University, from a school of drama, who's really doing this in New York now. But he always calls me like, Dad, let me give you some tips. So he's like my little personal coach.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
Oh, and let me also do one more shout out, because again, I want to also shout out other things that we're doing in the community. I just got an award recently from an organization called Momentous Mentoring that does a lot of HBCU advocacy work, and they do bus trips for students and scholars and families. And this organization started 2017, 18, somewhere along the lines. And I was kind of their mentor coach to kind of help them get on the way. And from there, the company just exploded and just, they're doing leaps and bounds. They're doing like 3 trips a year, all that. So I was just recently honored from the organization for the advocacy and the work I do in the community and helping them get started. So shout out to Cynthia Wilson and Momentous Mentoring. Thank you for this honor.
Well, Anthony, I will certainly say that it is well deserved. We appreciate all your efforts and the things that you're doing and the time and the resources that you put into spotlighting historically Black colleges and universities. So I want to thank y'all for watching. On behalf of Anthony Harris Brown and Monique Robinson, I'm George Sanders, your stand-in host for HBCU Alumni House Party. We thank you for tuning in. Stay safe and God bless. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another fabulous segment of the HBCU House Party with your host, Anthony Brown. Tune in next week for more fun, education, and inspiration as we spotlight historically Black universities and colleges all over the country. So, until next time, support an HBCU and help cultivate the wealth of talent these universities and colleges have to offer. You never know, the student you help could be the next one to change the world.